Welcome back. You with the NCN 6 o'clock news. GGMC Chairman Robert Webster says a collective effort is needed by stakeholders if there is to be responsible mining. Addressing the opening of the Mining Week 2008 yesterday, he noted that in 2007, mining expanded by some 22.7% over the previous year, representing 6.2% of the gross domestic product. Detail.
Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, Robert Webster, says in order to have responsible mining and progress in the sector, a collective approach is necessary. He says the miners cannot do it by themselves.
To a semi-autonomous government agency such as the GGMC, but it involves everyone. It involves the people who finance mining, insurance companies, dealers of equipment, non-governmental organizations, everyone together. If we work together, rather than some people sitting on the fence, if we work together, we can ensure that a responsible mining regime exists.
The chairman noted that mining has expanded by some 22.7% in 2007, which represents 6.2% of Guyana's gross domestic product. He added that advice from suppliers on the use of resources and certain chemicals can also contribute to responsible mining.
One would hope that as a mine closes down, because every mine is finite, that the systems, everything that's left behind enhances rather than reduces the environment. And we have seen this in many areas. The Commissioner referred to it. The roads that have been developed in the interior to access mining areas. Some of these have become permanent and have opened the country up. We're moving into a regime where we may well be affected by climate change, and the need to access the interior, what we coasters consider the interior, becomes that much more important.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Samuel Hines also reiterated the need for responsible mining.
Mining, like all human activities, must be pursued in a way that sustains public consent. Miners must be sensitive to public sentiments and must set out to win public assent.
Mining Week runs until Saturday and culminates with the Pork Knuckles Day Fair at Bartica. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.
Regulations to establish a local gaming authority is to be placed high on Cabinet's agenda. This is according to President Barry Jagdeo, who says some regulations have already been drafted. Edward Lane reports.
Government, prior to the 2007 Cricket World Cup, started work to put laws in place to allow casino gambling locally. However, this was placed on hold after several organizations, including opposition parties and the religious community, opposed the move. But President Barry Jagdeo last week told reporters that Cabinet will be placing this high on its agenda soon. He notes that some regulations for the establishment of a gaming authority have already been drafted.
I've seen the regulations drafted. I've had a look at them. I guess by now they would have been put on Cabinet's agenda. So I expect them to be probably put in place shortly. Just the basic elements of the gaming authority. But I've seen all the drafts of the various regulations.
Licensing of casinos and other gaming businesses will, however, be done after the authority is put in place. The only hotel in Guyana with a facility to house a casino is the Buddies International Hotel at Providence. The new buyer of Buddies Hotel, Sudi Uskan, told local media that he intended to operate a casino there but had not obtained any license at that time. Uskan, who is known in Turkey, his native country, as the Casino King, said that establishing a casino would be an expensive undertaking, but he would nevertheless be pursuing it. The Turkish investor will take over full management by October and will have to wait until the Gaming Authority legislation is in place before applying for license. Several other hotels have also expressed interest in operating casinos. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
A symposium on the development of cultural industries and the protection and marketing of Caribbean art forms was held earlier today at the International Convention Center. Barbados panelist Professor Gladstone Yearwood says while there are many benefits of this enterprise, there is need to preserve traditional art forms. More in this report.
While the Caribbean is eager to pursue the benefits of cultural industries, Professor Gladstone Yearwood says it should proceed with caution since there is much to lose if this is not pursued properly. According to him, arts and culture should not be seen as merely economic gains, but also crucial developmental tools.
Art, culture, and ideas play a significant role in the socialization process and in the way they mediate historical, social, and political events. So as we look at cultural industries and look at trading, we need also to remember that art has a developmental role to play in our societies, and not necessarily an economic role. The economic role is important, but the both go hand in hand. Those societies that will benefit most from this new world situation are those who make the investment in the artists, in new technologies, and the requisite infrastructure to be part of the debate. The idea of cultural industries is built on creativity, ideas, innovation, and artistic skill, which produce intellectual property that becomes the basis for creating economic value. The question that we face in the Caribbean then is, what are we doing to make these things happen?
Noting technological advancements, he says the time has come for the Caribbean to do things differently. Professor Yearwood says this extends beyond product quality to creating art which not only speaks of Caribbean culture but also has international appeal. However, in the pursuit of this, he says the Caribbean should not lose sight of the function and preservation of its traditional art forms. Meanwhile, the Barbados native is calling for the establishment of a regional arts and culture development plan which will provide opportunities for artists and performers to exhibit their work and reap economic benefits. Yearwood believes that this will end the exploitation of artists and afford them the opportunity to contribute in policy-making decisions.
In the Caribbean, the creative sector needs an urgent, comprehensive cultural development plan that clearly sets developmental goals, that articulates the importance of culture in the life and affairs of the nation, and addresses the economic potential of cultural industries.
In the meantime, the theme of Are We There Yet has met with a resounding no as panelists highlighted the need for intellectual property, incentives and proper legislation with respect to arts in the Caribbean. They have also reiterated the call for additional investments in infrastructure since it is believed that this will further boost the region's shift towards the cultural industries. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.
The Ministry of Health smoke-free campaign at all CARIFESTA sites has been enhanced with additional health workers monitoring those venues. Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says ushers, volunteers, health and security officials are specifically mandated to look for smokers. Details from Unika Jones.
All CARIFESTA venues have been declared smoke-free zones by the Ministry of Health, and Health Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says stringent monitoring is in place.
And particularly the public health officials, because their job is not so much to take care of people who might get sick or injured. Their job is to keep the environment safe and risk-free. And so one of the primary mandate of the public health workers, this is the environmental health officers, and so is to ensure that they discourage people from smoking.
The smoke-free campaign is expected to continue after CARIFESTA. Dr. Ramsamy knows that persons who refuse to comply will be escorted out of the venues by police officers.
The police officers have been encouraged themselves to be gentle, but if their gentleness does not work, then the police will escort people away from the CARIFESTA venues. So that's how we are monitoring it at this time.
So far, there have been no reports of any difficulty in enforcing the campaign. Persons are also being urged not to use alcohol or to do so responsibly and ensure they have a designated driver. Onika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.